Chapter 2: Secret Agent W. The limousine drove at full speed down the streets of Washington. The street lamps reflected off the body of the car, leaving brief, brilliant yellow shadows. Inside the vehicle, Dido was looking out the windows at the calm shores of the Potomac River, separated from the roadway by a long group of trees. To see all this water that was passing through the middle of the city, opening a path between buildings, roads, and parks, managed to give her a sensation of serenity. The woman pressed on the button that lowered the window separating her from the driver. "Mark," she said to him as soon as the divider opened up enough to let her clearly speak through, "drive more slowly, please." "We'll be late, ma'am." Dido checked her watch. 30 minutes past midnight. Mark was right that they'd arrived late to the meeting, but this wasn't important. She closed the divider, isolating the back of the limousine again, and fell back against the seat. In France, it was 6:30 in the morning. It was time to make her call. She grabbed the satellite telephone attached to the armrest of her seat, pressed the button to activate the anti-listening device, and entered the number. The phone rang and rang for a good while. "Hello?" a groggy voice finally responded. "This is Dido." Silence. "Yes?" the voice answered slowly, then, suddenly more awake. "Ma'am?" "I have instructions for you. A car is coming to collect you shortly. Be ready." "What? But I can't right now." "A trusted source," Dido continued, ignoring the response, "revealed to us that Hannibal Mago is headed that way. It surely has something to do with Hopper. I want you to be at the airport when Mago arrives so that from that moment on, you won't lose sight of him." On the other side of the line, agitated noises could be heard, sheets rustling and bare feet running on the floor. "I can't do it, ma'am," a murmur spoke into Dido's ear. "I'm no longer qualified. I don't remember anything." "You know everything you need to. You know that you've done very bad things, and you don't want your wife or your son to know. For this reason, Walter, you're going to do what I say. 10 years ago, you became a key player in this story, and now it's you who will finish it. The men who are on their way to get you are agents of mine. They will tell you how to get in contact with me." Dido hung up the telephone without warning, waited a second, then dialed a new number. This time, the person answered immediately. "Agent Lone Wolf at your orders." "Go look for Walter. I have a mission for you." Ulrich entered class and sat by himself at one of the desks in the last row. He looked at Jeremy and Aelita for a moment, sitting together, then at Odd beside Eva. It wasn't fair. He and Odd had always been like two pizza in a pod. The same desk, the same dorm. It's true that sometimes Odd was unbearable, and that's not to mention Kiwi, the bratty little mutt that he called a dog that also lived in their room. But they had become friends, and now he had been replaced by a girl. "Hello, everyone," said Professor Hertz while entering through the door, dressed in her usual lab coat. She was a petite woman with a cloud of cotton-like gray hair on her head and round glasses. She was carrying a test tube full to the brim with strange black and white alternating discs. "A Volta battery!" Jeremy immediately exclaimed from a spot in the front. The professor smiled. "That's right. Today we're going to study Volta's battery, the first static electricity energy generator." Ulrich's attention immediately drifted elsewhere. It was much more interesting to think about what Jeremy had talked about the night before. They were going to spend the afternoon at the Hermitage, the cottage where Aelita had lived with her father several years before, and then they finally were going to use the scanner to do some exploration, even though it wouldn't really be him entering the mirror. After a long dispute, they decided what the team would be. Aelita, of course, with Yumi and Odd. Ulrich tried to protest, but Odd was adamant, so he eventually gave in, which was too bad, because Ulrich would have loved to enter the virtual worlds created by Hopper. Inside, he would no longer be a simple cat boy, and he would transform into a samurai, with a katana at his side, ready to face any danger, and he formed an invincible duo with Yumi. His phone started to vibrate in the pocket of his pants. Ulrich took it out and read "Mum" on the screen. That bothered him a little. Ulrich did not get along well with his parents. What could his mother want at such a time? Then he felt faint. The week before, a mysterious man with 2 dogs had tried to hurt Odd's father and Yumi's parents. Maybe... "Can I leave for a second, Professor?" he asked while raising a hand at his desk. "I have to go to the bathroom." His words were met with crazy laughter from the class. "Hurry up," was Professor Hertz's response. Ulrich smiled while running from class, and as soon as he had shut the door behind him, he answered the phone. "Mom, did something happen?" "Huh? Hi, Ulrich. Sorry to bother you. No, nothing happened." Ulrich sighed. He was starting to get annoyed. "What is it then? Why'd you call me?" he argued. "You know I have class now. You had me worried." His mother continued to stammer as if she was trying to say something, but didn't know where to start. "You see," she started finally, "your father should arrive in the city more or less in time to eat. He had an urgent business affair or something of the type. I don't fully understand. But seeing as he'll be in town, you should call him. You could see each other and talk for a bit." Ulrich's parents lived very far from the city of Caddick, and normally they never came to see him. The young boy sighed. This afternoon he wanted to go to the Hermitage with the others. He didn't have time to be with his father. Furthermore, they would just end up arguing like usual anyway. "I don't know if I'll be able to," he lied, grateful that his mother couldn't see his face through the phone. "I have too much to study." "Ulrich," the woman's voice became quieter and softer, "I know that things didn't go so well the last time, but you should give your father a chance. Promise me that you'll call him?" Ulrich dismissed his mother as quick as he could. He then thought for a moment and dialed his father's number. An electronic voice told him that the phone he dialed was off or out of service at the moment. The sky during the first hour of the afternoon was still gray, but it was a bit warmer, and there was no rain. Ulrich put the phone back in his pocket. As usual, he had no way to contact his father, and he watched Odd carefully. "You seem really happy. You're staring into space with a smile stuck on your face like an idiot. And how the heck did Jim agree to lift your punishment?" Ulrich gave a slight sarcastic smile. Several days earlier, the gym teacher, Jim Morales, had been on the verge of finding out all about Kiwi, and had decided to restrict Odd from leaving the dorms. "Who were you calling?" his friend asked, pointing towards Ulrich's phone that he had just put away. "My father." But he didn't respond. The young man shrugged his shoulders. "Well, parents only lead to trouble. You know what I mean, right? How is your old man? Is he better yet?" Odd staggered as if trying to recover some information from some lost nook in his brain. "He's doing better," he said in a monotone voice. "He's eating again, but his memory still isn't back." "He's going through the same thing as Yumi's parents," said Ulrich, nodding his head. "They are disoriented, and they keep repeating the same phrases." "Yeah," Odd confirmed. "Dan keeps speaking of a certain Walter. He says that he sent him, and he keeps mumbling about some absurd story." "Walter?" said Ulrich, surprised. "That's my dad's name, too." At that moment, Odd signaled across the street. Richard Dupuis was headed towards the Hermitage with his hands in his pockets, dragging his feet. "Hey, Richard," Ulrich called out to him. "Let's go together." "You should have a code name," said the guy seated by his side. "It's Joe," confirmed the one in the opposite seat. "Like us. I'm Weasel, he's Ferret, and our boss is Lone Wolf." "I'm Walter," he answered, shrugging. "Period." Just like Dido had told him, these men had come to get him by car. They had even brought him some new clothes, a black suit, a black tie, and a black coat that went down to his feet, and a pair of sunglasses. Black, of course. It was ridiculous being dressed like this. They could be noticed a kilometer away, but he remained silent and changed his clothes. However, he wouldn't accept being given some stupid nickname like Lynx or Prairie Dog. The gun weighed down heavily on him, and the holster for the pistol made his armpit itch. "How'd I manage to get myself in this mess?" he thought. The truth was that he didn't remember. His memory was an empty black hole. He remembered what happened since 1994 up until now, but absolutely nothing that he had done prior. All he knew was that he had done some deplorable things, and that these men in black and Professor Hopper had something to do with it. Lone Wolf, the boss of this little group, drove the sedan to the Parisian region and immediately headed to the airport. Once there, he traded several words with some police officers, showing some notebooks and authorizations, and next they were opening the gate so that they could enter the zone reserved for airplanes. They were parked behind a hangar, posted there, binoculars in hand and guns loaded. Around 1 a.m, Weasel and Ferret went off to buy sandwiches. Walter's had weighed down his stomach like a brick. "How long are we supposed to stay here waiting?" he asked. "Silence," said Lone Wolf, lowering his eyes from behind his black glasses. They continued to wait. The sedan radio was actually a frequency scanner, a device to listen for radio transmissions from the police in the control tower at the airport. Through the open doors of the car, the operators talking to pilots ready to land could be heard speaking short phrases through static. A message then caught their attention. "Tower here to Phoenix 1, you are cleared to land." "Phoenix 1 here. Received, Tower, preparing to land." The name Phoenix made Walter tremble. All four of them climbed into a luggage car that an employee had forgotten in front of the hangar door, and Lone Wolf took the wheel. The Sector F runways were meant for private planes, the jets belonging to the rich and such. A long row of planes gave them some cover before arriving at the wide promenade of tarmac and scorched grass, interrupted by lines of yellow paint and luminous projectors that lit their path towards the planes. The men in black were hiding in the last hangar in the line. Walter took the binoculars and leaned towards the exit to get a look. A red, beat-up pickup truck that was entering the runway caught his attention. Driving it, there was a thin-faced man, and on the seat behind him he had two dogs so big that they reminded him of horses. "Gregory Nectopoulos," murmured Weasel. "Dido was right. Things are getting serious," commented Ferret. Walter pointed his binoculars up towards the sky. He was waiting to see if Phoenix 1 would be an elegant private jet or a luxurious helicopter, but he was completely wrong. What was about to land on this runway was an enormous military plane with camouflage paint. "Look," he murmured. "A C-17 Globemaster," said Lone Wolf, raising his head. This nasty thing can carry up to 100 or so passengers and 77 tons of cargo. Mago brought his whole army."